So we are here with Allan McKay. It's very big pleasure for me because you are great fans from a long time ago, and you are the computer graphic man. Mm-hmm. You started very young, and you work all your life in computer graphic. In the last time, you started also the one particular course. It's the VFX course, and also I join inside this course, and I see also the very change my work with your lessons. Can you talk about this course? And the next course, you have a next course in near to the door, or
almost as soon as I get back to LA to work on it. Yeah. So I've done training pretty much my whole life, and I always did that because back when I started out, there wasn't any tutorials or training out there, and I really felt like I would need to figure things out and discover them for my own, but I didn't feel like I should keep it all to myself. I wanted to share that and save other people the hassle. So I always loved the problem-solving aspect, and so for me, I've always kind of like written a lot of articles and tutorials, and did a lot of video tutorials and online training, DVDs, all that sort of thing. And in the more recent years, it's definitely become more popular for like people to do that, like digital tutors and CG Society, FX PhD, and I've done courses for all those people, and I've loved doing it, but I've always just felt like they were always just the tip of the iceberg. People would start learning, and then just as things start to get good, it's like, all right, we're done. And I felt like I wanted to try, as much of a risk it is for me to take like a year of my time off, I wanted to spend a year and devote that to spending it with students and really kind of helping them build up, and really kind of be able to work with them on seeing how they evolve and where they get stuck, and together as a team, like not just myself, but everyone is able to help each other, and we all grow together. And for me, it was really enjoyable getting to meet you guys last year in Paris, and then this year again. And you know, I feel like we're all becoming friends, and more people coming in. And I think at this event, there's 10, 15 people from the mentorship there. The biggest thing for me was always like doing the live reviews. So like, I put together, at this point, I think it's about 700 hours of training for the mentorship, which is huge. But on top of that, like for me, the biggest thing was being able to review everyone's work, and together as a group, we would look over everyone's stuff and keep revising it and improving it, rather than go make it, have fun, I'm going away. Instead, it's like, I'll look at your work and I'll answer questions and help wherever I can in helping improve on that. And the next time we can improve it more and more. And the way that typically in production we would work would be, in movies you would work and have dailies. So you would go in every day, show your work, and the supervisor would tell you what they want changed and how to improve it. And for me, I always found that was like a really great way to learn, because you would actually get to see or understand the eye of that supervisor. So like working at ILM, you would have like Dennis Murin, John Knoll, all these amazing visual effects supervisors. And I was talking with a few of the ILM speakers about this, and how influential it's always been, like when you see people's eye and like what they always comment on or what they seek in a shot. Like Dennis Murin would always look for better composition and how the shot comes together. John Knoll is always very technical. He'll always, want depth of field and spec hits, and and bit by bit you're learning all this from amazing people. And I found that to be really a huge learning experience for me. And so yeah, I wanted to kind of simulate that in what we do. So on top of all the training, on top of the forums, on top of the private Facebook group and the live chat, all that stuff, we do live webinar reviews, and we do them constantly. And that to me is what I've been most proud of. And I feel like at the same time I get to meet everyone and get to know everyone. Like Stefan, he's one of the guys who's been in from the beginning, and I never met him, but meeting him this time finally in person, it's like I've known him the whole time, because we've spoken for a year. So it's kind of like, all right, like I know who you are, and I recognize your voice and everything. So yeah, it's great. Like I love how that collaboration is going to come together, and we've all grown, all of us together over that time.
You did also more podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me about podcast?
Sure. So for me, I wanted to do something a while back. When I was at ILM, I loved when we go to lunch and you'd have all these people talking, and the amount of information you would get from that would just be amazing. And people would be talking about, like, on Star Wars, we did this and that. And I just felt like if other people were able to sit at lunch and just listen, even myself, I would love that. I'd get so much from it. And I always wanted to do something like that because I felt like it'd be so rewarding for others just to kind of be the fly on the wall with two people who've got lots of experience and sharing their insights. And so one of the guys at ILM, Delcio Gomez, he mentioned it one day. We're walking down the street and he's like, you should start your own podcast. And I'm like, you're an idiot, that's stupid. But the more and more I thought about it, I was like, that's really a good idea. Like, that'd be really cool to try. And I didn't know if it would be useful, whether people would like it, hate it, but I thought I would put out some episodes and just see what happens. So I put out about 6 episodes and just wanted to see how it would be received. And the key thing for me with that was I wanted to make sure that they're all actionable. It's not like two people just blah, 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 but more hopefully diving into things that you can learn a lot just from people's experience about things we talk about. And I do also a lot of solo episodes. So, how I'm doing a talk in an hour here, that's pretty much what I'll do every week, on the podcast as well. So it's been a lot of work, and I'm doing it by myself. I'm not trying to make money from it. It's been completely free. So for me, I've just enjoyed it because it's my way of kind of giving back. And so far, like, it's really surprised me. It's in the top 50 on iTunes in the career section. It has 40,000 regular downloads every week. It's been pretty phenomenal just kind of seeing how it's come together, and it's just a great way for people to put something on while they walk to work, or while they're working, or at the gym, or whatever, and hopefully kind of get to gain a lot of insight, and hopefully things that you won't be able to get from any blog or course or whatever else. It's like usually stuff that's a lot more personal to do with those individuals who are all really good at what they do. People from Pixar, Weta, ILM, video games, wherever. So yeah, I've loved it. It's definitely been a lot of work, but it's also been really rewarding getting to, share that insight and get to do something different.
Can you talk to me about your next project?
Mm-hmm.
If you have some project for some effects for some movie, if
Mm-hmm.
you can.
Yeah. So I guess I skipped over that, but like the live action course is the next thing that I wanted to do, and that's been something that I've wanted to do for a while. And so originally I did like a course years ago on live action because I've always found that to be so critical, and I haven't seen anyone really doing like how to teach people how to do shots from start to finish and how to integrate CG and film together. And at the same time, like, it's a big gamble because when you're doing it at a certain level, you're pretty much creating real film. And movies cost like 150 million or more for a reason, because it's a lot of work. You bring in real film crews, you bring in real people, you spend months on shots. I wanted to kind of simulate that environment and create that. And I've been investing, like, at this point, it's nearly $100,000 of my own cash into getting this all happening. And I've wanted to do it, even though it's such a gamble in a lot of ways to do it. I wanted to do it because, to me, I feel like it is the kind of Rosetta Stone. It's the pinnacle of what we can learn in terms of being able to prove when we go into a job, whether we're starting out or whether we want to step up to being a CG supervisor or a VFX supervisor, understanding 360 degrees of like how to light shots, how to build shots, even how to prepare and film things in the beginning, or what happens once they go through comp and go into grading and mastering it all later on. All of this stuff, like learning how to shoot on set, these are all really critical things to learn, and there's so much to learn that I've needed to carefully kind of plan this, and I have been for 6 months. And finally, in the next few weeks, I'm going to be announcing it, very, very nervously, but it's been really great to basically build a course where we will go out and shoot real footage. We'll go through the entire production pipeline and do it in a way where it's not too overwhelming, because I think the other thing is that if you're just to do an entire film from start to finish, it's going to be very overwhelming just to have it all kind of hit you at once. But I've wanted to plan it in a way that we're really kind of learning how we would do things in a real studio. And it's going to be very challenging, but hopefully it's going to be something that everyone's going to, at the end of it, be able to show off real shots. And if they're just starting out, getting into the industry. It means that it's the difference between here's my work, please see how talented I am, to I can actually show you that I can do the work. So it's a no-brainer when people want to hire someone. They can say, you get it, you are clearly able to do all of this, and I have no doubt when I sit you down in a chair that you'll be able to start working right away without any question, rather than, okay, I can see you're talented, but I wonder whether or not this will work out, whether you can actually fit in and be able to do what we do. Because it's always a gamble when I hire people. It's like, well, you know, are they actually able to do the work, or are they just able to follow a tutorial or whatever and do the stuff? At the same time, for a lot of people that want to take the next step, you know, whether it is in lighting or effects or whatever, if they want to go into CG supervising, you need to understand the whole entire pipeline. And if you only know your little bit, then you can't really evolve beyond that, because you're going to be only knowing effects or knowing modeling or knowing whatever. The more you understand the entire pipeline and how it all works together, the more you're able to look at a shot and realize, okay, well, this area here, this is going to be lighting and we need to fix it over here, or this is something that we can fix in comp because I know how the whole process works. So I think for whatever level you're at, it's going to be a great evolution. In terms of other projects, right now, that's been my dedication to focus on that. I made it a rule this year, rather than working entirely in production, I want to put all my time into the mentorship and into the live action course, because I don't want to like launch it and be like, I'm really busy and I don't have time for you. I want to put my time into that. So I'm being very selective right now about only doing a few productions. So in June, I'm basically going to pick like 2 or 3 things and touch those, rather than last year I had to turn down like Deadpool, Independence Day 2, like all these other films, because I didn't want to like get stuck doing that stuff. But yes, it's going to be interesting. Like later in the year, I want to touch a few things and see if I can have some fun. But right now, it's like get this done and keep seeing it through.
I see this particularly very strange from other side. Mm-hmm. What I mean, you are more available. Mm-hmm. I follow your course and I write to you, you respond, or you are find in chat. It's strange, because maybe I meet different kinds of people, but sometimes the people like you is your senior, very super senior, is the god of VFX, is no time for other people. Mm-hmm. And this is, I appreciate more, it's very, very good.
Thank you. Yeah, well, thanks.
Okay, with brackets. And your pipeline is based on 3ds Max. Mm-hmm. And do you have some problems sometimes with some agency? Because more agency work with Maya, and maybe if I go with to the company, they say, hey, I use 3ds Max from FX, V-Ray, they say, oh, sorry, we use Maya.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Yep. It is a big concern. For me, like I grew up using everything. I do use a lot of Max, especially for effects, just because it gets the job done quick. The tool's really powerful. I used Maya for a long time. Like I originally started out in PovRay and I moved to 3D Studio DOS, then Max, and then after a while I left Max and I moved to Maya. And at the time, Maya was way more powerful for what I needed it to do. And bit by bit, Maya started to not really change, and Max was evolving, and so slowly I moved back to that. And at this point, like it's always been a concern. Like I used to work at a lot of Maya studios as a Max artist, and that's the thing. They would all say we need to we do everything in Maya, and it's like, well, here's my reel, and they're like, well, all the stuff we need to do we can't really do in Maya because there's all these limitations. So I used to work for so many Maya studios that were marketed as Maya studios. And it would be me mainly in the corner in an old 3D Studio 3 doing a lot of the stuff. And when it comes down to it, I always say like use the package that you're best in, because I think that these days they've all copied each other enough that they all can do the same thing. But I also think it's very critical to research not where you are, but where you want to be, like what those studios use. Because if they are all Maya or they're all Houdini, then if you're learning Max, then that's great, but it's not what they're going to be using. And so I think, like, if anything, learn in whatever you're comfortable in, but I think it's also better to at least learn a little bit of Maya, a little bit of Houdini. You don't need to be like a god in it, but it means at least when you get that question, like, do you know Maya? Like, it's such a night and day difference if you say, yeah, I know a little bit. I know Max really well, but I know a little bit of Maya. To a lot of people, it's like, okay, cool. Well, we got to get you trained up. But if you say, oh, I use Max, I don't use Maya, then it's like, oh, okay, well, thanks. See you later. It's having at least that little bit means that there's a little bit of room for them to play with. But it is a big question. I think it is well worthwhile, like researching and making sure that what you're doing is aligned with where you want to go. For me, like I switched to Maya. It was a no-brainer. It was so easy because I knew what I was doing in Max, and so when I jumped into Maya, it was easy. I learned how to script and code and do so much in Maya that when I jumped back into Max, all those principles I was doing were from Maya, and it worked fine. So like all of these are all the same. It's not like 3D and a different package uses a whole different concept that has never been heard of. Houdini, jumped to Pyro effects. I didn't need to read the manual or do any tutorials. It was like, all right, fuel, temperature, blah, blah, blah. This is that in Max, in Fume. So the interface might be different, but the principles are pretty much all the same in every single package. But yeah, I will say to always look at the studios you want to work for and do your research, understand what they use, because it's better to at least have that insight so you can plan ahead rather than going and working, let's say in Digital Fusion and then wanting to be a compositor in everyone's Nuke or After Effects. It's better to at least be able to learn a bit so that way you can adopt to whatever they're using, as because I know this is a long answer, but like ILM, they would ask me, do you know Python or C, like what languages do you code in? And for me, like, I know a bit of each of those, but I would say that I know Maxtrip really well. However, the structure of it is very similar to Python, and if I need to, I can pick that up between now and when I need to start. For them, that means that they're confident in you because you've given them that confidence. Like, I know this, but if you need me to know that, I can learn it because what I know I can apply. Like what I know is transferable, and I think it's your job to kind of share that confidence with them, so that way they feel like, all right, you're telling me that you can do it, then great. Rather than we can't work with you because you're this and I'm that. You're PC, I'm Mac, or whatever.
Okay, the last question is very strange question because maybe you are the wizard. I don't know, but what's the future of CG or FX for you? Because in this lifetime is go out, for example, the VR, the GPU render, and blah blah blah. What do you see like the good road to take for the future?
I was reading Ed Catmull, his book last week, which he's the president of Pixar, and he actually mentioned that in the book that so many people ask him that. And Ed Catmull pretty much helped invent 3D. And the fact that he was able to confidently say, I can't answer that, made me feel, less stupid. But things are growing and growing, and it's hard to say because just in general with technology, it's all changing. VR is becoming a massive thing. Even augmented reality. For me, I think that's going to be really interesting. Being able to work and maybe your interface and all your tools are around you, kind of like Tony Stark. All these things, like all the tools, everything would change. It changes over time. Video games is continuously ongoing. It's really hard to say where things will go. I think some things will rapidly change and other things won't. And if anything, I'm more happy to be surprised and see where it goes with everyone else rather than try and predict something and have no idea.
So it's old, and we can remember your website where is find a podcast and all information on course on what you do.
Yeah, allanmckay.com.
Okay, see you in the next time.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.